you know the story. Go to school, get an education, and then climb up the ladder. Well, that didn't exactly happen the way in which I planned, right? I did go to school, I did get an education, but as soon as I got out of school, I was literally living paycheck to paycheck. I'm Lonzy Green, affectionately known as Mr. Flip Your 401k. I help people build holistic financial strategies using their retirement plan, their cash value life insurance to pay off debt, become investors, get paid for life, and retire comfortably. Welcome to From 401k to Freedom. Who is Mr. Flip Your 401k? My name is Lonzy Green. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I grew up in a two-parent household. My parents were very hard workers, so I learned early on the value of working hard in order to get the things that you want. And so that's how I grew up, working hard, and then, you know the story, go to school, get an education, and then climb up the ladder. Well, that didn't exactly happen the way in which I planned, right? I did go to school, I did get an education, but as soon as I got out of school, it was hard to find a job. So I was literally living paycheck to paycheck. Actually, there were times that I didn't even have enough money to put a full tank of gas in, and I was eating ramen noodles every day for dinner. So it was tough. And then I found out that I had a child coming. So in my mid-20s, I am struggling, trying to make ends meet, trying to cover my rent, trying to cover gas, all the necessities, and now I have a child on the way. So that was a learning lesson for me to know that something wasn't right, that it had to be something more, it had to be something different about just working and exchanging time for a paycheck. I felt like I had to do something different. I was in corporate for a while, working for a financial institution, and my son was 2 years of age, and I was broke. I was desperate, trying to find a way that could help me breathe financially. And what I did was something that was daring. I say it was daring because working in a financial institution, I was a retirement associate working with 401k plans and 403b plans. One of the first things that they taught you in the financial industry was to encourage people not to take money from their retirement account because it would delay their retirement goals. Well, for me, as desperate as I was, I didn't care about that. I cared about how I was going to be able to create a better life for myself and for my family. And so I came across someone and asked for mentorship because she was very successful in her business. The first thing that she asked me was, hey, do you have capital? Now, I'm thinking in my mind, I don't have nothing in my checking or savings account. But one thing I can tell you is the first thing that they told us when I started working for their financial institution was to start contributing to the 401k plan. So I did do that. I'd actually had money coming out of my paycheck for the last couple of years when I first got out of school, going into my 401k. So that was all the money that I had. And I was desperate. So I took all the money that I had. I took a $6,000 loan from out of my 401k, and underneath mentorship, I seeded it into a business. And then over 10 years, I grew that business. I grew that business to a $500,000 operation. Now, I'm doing this while I'm working. And just that one change in my life alone was so dynamic that it did give me an additional level of freedom that I didn't have before I bet on myself and made that decision. So I encourage anyone, I'm not advocating to take money out of your retirement plan, but if you know your plan and then you have a plan based on that knowledge, then I always believe that the best bet that you can make is the bet on yourself. So now I'm working in corporate. I've been in corporate for some years now, and things were going good, but they weren't going great. I got into a leadership role and it was different. Some of the teammates that I was working with were challenging my business that I had been running for 10 years because of some regulatory rules, calls for me to disband my company. And so for about 4 years, all I was doing was going to work, dealing with challenging colleagues. And so I sunk into a mild depression because I started to lose my sense of purpose. Here I was going from an entrepreneur that was still employed, having a good amount of success, to now just going to a job 9 to 5. And because I had been in the 9 to 5 for so long, I went ahead and decided that, you know what, this is my future. I'm just going to work for the next 20, 30 years. I'm going to save in my retirement plan, and that's that. But it just didn't feel right. So COVID hit, and COVID was truly life-changing for me. It was life-changing because it had me thinking differently about things, differently about where I wanted to go in my life spiritually. And one day I checked my 403B account balance, and I noticed that my balance had reduced by $60,000. So not only did it have me changing myself spiritually, but it also questioned where I was financially. Because I'm thinking, if I have my money in this retirement plan and it's going up and down, then what does that look like for my future? Does that mean I'm going to have enough money when I retire? So it caused me to do something different. I started to research, and that's how I got turned on through another mentor with life insurance, because I was able to see and practice for myself the impact that life insurance can have, not just from the legacy aspect where you can actually pass down generational wealth to your loved ones, but also leverage life insurance and the cash value benefit of life insurance while you're alive. That's why it's called life insurance, because you can use it while you're still alive. So life insurance was truly a changing point for me. And once I started setting up my policies and being able to truly understand how to borrow from it properly and structure my policies, it really opened up new doors for me. It gave me a greater sense of purpose. I became a real estate investor using life insurance. I became a car rental business owner using life insurance. And because it was so inspirational, I became a life insurance agent. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking the seed money that I use from my 401k, even back then, to use it to seed life insurance, to seed future endeavors, and doing so to not only help myself and my family, but to help other working professionals, to put them in a position who may have been lost or stuck of their purpose, to do some things with their money to put themselves and their families in a better position.